The hour of 6 p.m. has arrived. Calling to order this regular meeting of the Finance Organization and Personnel Committee. Meeting is being broadcast live on the City of Keene YouTube channel and channel 1302. The video is also streamed on the city's website and is posted on the website by the end of the next business day, barring any technical difficulties. Copies of the printed agenda are available in the wall pockets just as you enter the meeting room. Public and other city councilors will be recognized to ask questions and make comments on the agenda item that's under discussion. After being recognized, all remarks will be made through the chair. I will not recognize an individual a second time until everyone who wishes has had a chance to speak. Anyone who wishes to address the committee is asked to go to one of the microphones in the room, identify themselves by name and address prior to speaking. And written comments from the public will be accepted at the city clerk's office until Tuesday at 1 p.m. Our minute taker works remotely, so committee members be sure to turn on your microphones when speaking. And if a minute taker or our recorder is unable to hear us, they will let us know that we should need to turn our microphone on. With that, we have a couple items to handle this evening. And FAA AIP grants, the first one.
Good evening, everyone. Dave Hickling, Airport Director. I'll start you off with an easy one tonight. It's accepting grant funding. So this will be for phase 2 of the perimeter fence project. The first phase, we did the environmental assessment and 30% of the design. This will complete the design of the project, also include permitting and the bidding portion of the project. So with luck, we'll have this done by next year, be able to apply for the construction grant for the next fiscal year. So 95% funded through FAA and DOT grants, and that leaves us 5%.
Questions? Nobody else to speak to it, so take a motion.
Move to recommend that the city manager be authorized to do all things necessary to accept, execute, and expend grant funding for up to the amount of $350,000 from the Federal Aviation Administration Airport Improvement Program for the Airport Perimeter Fence Project.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Further discussion, members of the committee? Seeing none. All in favor? No one's opposed. Unanimous.
All right, first.
Thank you.
We hit the clock on the first one, 30-second timer. That was,
Chief?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Jason Martin, Fire Chief here in the City of Keene. This item that I'm bringing forward to you tonight pertains to the acceptance of 2025 Homeland Security funds. The Fire Department has been awarded $15,833 by the Office of the New Hampshire Fire Marshal as part of the 2025 Homeland Security Hazardous Materials Grant Program. These funds we use to further train our hazmat team members in the disciplines of detection, mitigation, and decontamination of chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and explosive events. Training our team to mitigate these types of incidents falls directly in line with the state of New Hampshire's Homeland Security goals. There is no match component to the city. I'm asking you to consider the recommendation to authorize the city manager to accept and expend these funds. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Questions, comments here? Seeing none. Nobody from the public.
well, does Counselor want to talk about a particular one, just so I know to watch out for him? All right. Move to recommend that the city manager be authorized to do all things necessary to accept and expend the 2025 Homeland Security Grant Local Hazmat Training Award.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Further discussion? Members of the committee? Seeing none. All in favor? No one's opposed?
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Goose Pond.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and councilors. I was supposed to be joined by Kara Hennessy, the Parks and Rec Director, but she was unavailable this evening, so I'll cover this one. Although I believe for this, all the credit should go to her. She's basically created a project with the Goose Pond Stewardship Committee out of thin air. A pedestrian bridge that will span over the spillway of the Goose Pond Dam that we're very excited for. Likely, we had anticipated to perform construction in the fall, may need to get pushed to the spring, depending. What essentially we're looking for, continuing with the movements of acceptance of grants and donations, is that the Savings Bank of Walpole has committed a funding dollar for dollar in the amount up to $10,000 for donations that the city receives for this project from the public. Right now, there's advertising and an option on Parks and Rec to make a donation to this program. Anyone could do it. Even my 8-year-old is already a gold member and donated, so I would encourage anyone who can to please donate. So that's really the gist of the program. This bridge is primarily being built with these donations and by volunteer and city staff. So we're doing everything we can to minimize the prices, the costs on this project. With that, be happy to answer any questions.
Questions? Takes a motion.
I've already donated to this. Do I need to recuse or anything? Because I gave them money. All right, I think we're all
Was the
good.
check cashed yet?
Check with cash. We're good. It's gone.
Move to recommend that the city manager be authorized to do all things necessary to accept and expend donations from the Savings Bank of Walpole up to the amount of $100,000 and donations from the public up to $20,000 for the construction of the Goose Pond Pedestrian Bridge Project, 65M0012C.
Second, with the note that it would be, I believe it was 10,000, not 100,000 on the first
Oh,
number.
10,000, oh.
I mean, we'll take up to 100.
You've got the checkbook.
All right. Any further discussion, members of the committee? All in favor? No one's opposed, that's unanimous.
Thank you.
Next one.
Your next agenda item, built into the current CIP was the reconstruction of the Court Street water main. It's roughly a half mile of 10-inch old cast iron water main that we're replacing with 12-inch ductile. What caused us to expedite this design and construction is over the past winter, the crossing of the river, the water main broke, and now we have 2 dead-ended sections of that water main. So what we did is we have the funds available, but we expedited the RFQ for engineering services for the project to hire a consultant to perform these engineering services for the design, development of contract documents for bidding and construction. We received 4 qualification packages. Myself, the infrastructure project manager, and civil project manager assigned to the project all reviewed them independently. We all felt that Weston Sampson set themselves ahead of all the other consultants by demonstrating and presenting ideas that would save the city considerable amount of money by incorporating essentially part of the installation as part of the design. Typically what we would do is, I don't want to bore you, but typically what we would do is borings on either side of a directional drill to determine what the depth of ledge or what the soil materials are, where they propose to just go ahead and install or drill to be able to install the pipe under the river. So depending on the conditions, we could just pull a pipe right through as part of the design. So potential extreme savings to the city. That impressed us enough to recommend them to award. We've negotiated a scope and fee with them. We are supplying them with LiDAR information in lieu of survey to save additional money to the city. And we believe we have a scope and fee that is within our budget and will meet the deadlines for the project to go out to bid next spring. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have.
Questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You stated that we're expediting this project. Are we having to shift any other projects or move anything else around to do that?
This is already planned. Money was already set aside for it. Initially, we were going to wait until some of these bigger projects went phase through and then get to this, but we're looking to put this on the front burner for construction next year, to get this constructed as soon as possible and resolve this issue with the water main, improve water pressure and water quality.
After you come up under the river, does it come up through Court Street, or what's the route of
It would be
construction?
cross-country, and then ideally, we'd have to do the design, but ideally stay out of the road as much as possible to the shoulder, so we don't have that issue in the future. But we'll have to see what the design unveils, basically. But
Okay, good. All right. Motion somewhere?
Move to recommend that the city manager be authorized to do all things necessary to execute an agreement with Weston and Sampson for engineering services for the design of the Court Street Water Main Replacement Project 34 MI 0226 for an amount not to exceed $165,000.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Further discussion by the committee? Seeing none, all in favor? Nobody's opposed, unanimous. Your buddy is taking care of you. It's now $100,000.
this next project is in the same area, still on Court Street, still scheduled for construction, I think in 2028, although we're gonna look to utilize those funds for the downtown, so this project will be constructed later, but wherein we were doing engineering in the same location, it made sense to combine the projects at the same time. It's still scheduled, so it's not anything expedited, it's just a normally scheduled project. Like the other one, we went out for RFQ. In this instance, we only got one consultant that responded on that. We negotiated a scope and fee and have become mutually agreed to that scope and fee with Fuss and O'Neill, and they're ready to get started on this project as soon as possible. We see this as more of a no-dig project technology, sort of like the jacking of the water main, and based on the depth of how deep this culvert is. So with that, be happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Where's the culvert?
It's on Court Street. I'm blanking on the side street it's near, but it's like 40 feet deep. So it's beyond what we would be able to design. I'm blanking on the side street. I apologize.
You say that, I think
Yeah.
it's somewhere around the right estate, but you're right.
There you
It's
go.
so deep
Yeah.
You cannot see it.
Yep.
Can you turn on your microphone, please?
He's right. All right. Motion?
All right, make sure I got the right one. Move to recommend the city manager be authorized to do all things necessary to execute an agreement with Fuss and O'Neill for engineering services for the design of the Court Street Culvert Replacement Project for an amount not to exceed $128,000.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion by the committee? Seeing none, all those in favor? No one's opposed, unanimous.
I saw she came in with paperwork. Should we ask if there's anything she wanted to add to that other one? Because you're gonna have to present it. I don't know if for the.
Do you have more?
I don't know if you want stuff you want to add. We're on a pretty good pace here. We got through like 5 and 9 minutes or whatever, 10 minutes.
But he's timing you, so be careful.
Yeah. If,
It would just be very quick.
that's perfect.
Thank you.
I am curious about it. I did, yeah. Something that's a pretty cool project.
Yep.
So, as you've already discussed, we are raising money for the Goose Pond Spillway Bridge. We're very excited about this build. We're very excited about this project. And so far, in donations, what we have from the community is $3,490. So with the dollar-for-dollar match with the Savings Bank of Walpole, we're almost at $7,000. Our goal is to raise $10,000 of community funding. So that would be matched dollar for dollar to the $20,000, which is the anticipated project cost.
Thank you. Very cool.
Questions?
You're gonna leave those behind?
I sure am.
Cool.
So, there we go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Do you want to talk longer on these items? I feel like I'm going too fast.
Yours is perfect.
Good?
He's
I
he's
thi-
got a timer going.
This next one, people might be more interested in, so maybe it will solicit more conversation. So your next agenda item is the city, as part of the downtown project, solicited qualifications in accordance with federal funding for engineering services during construction for the project. We extended the request period about 45 days to ensure that we were getting, that candidates had an opportunity to submit, and we were getting good packages. The city received 3 qualification packages, all great firms, all very difficult decision. The interview team consisted of a very distinguished group of MSFI Chair and City Councilor Mitch Greenwald, Deputy City Manager Rebecca Landry, Public Works Director Don Lucier. The Colonial Board of Trustees member Tom Minkler represented the public. He provided very good questions and input as part of this project. Myself and the Infrastructure Project Manager TJ O'Brien. All of the firms that submitted were interviewed. We basically said, there's only 3. We want the best. We're going to interview all of them. There was such negligible things that separated these 3. They all had great experience of work, great experience working with DOT projects, past performance of successful project experience on projects this cost. Ultimately, we decided to go with a recommendation with GPI. We've been working with GPI on a negotiated scope, gone back and forth, and we're at a point where we're confident about their scope and fee and recommend the award to them for the project. Now, part of the planning with this is we're requesting your approval, but we will not award the project until we have a contractor under contract, right? So we'll wait to award this contract until mid-January, so we're all lined up, sort of similar to a DOT project, where we would award the CE Services Design Engineer of Record and the contractor all at the same time, ensuring that we're going forward with the project, which we are, but as a safety precaution. With that, be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, City Engineer. I know you wanted a little more conversation, so I'll give some opportunity here.
Nice.
So could you just give just a little bit more detail as to what GPI would be doing for this 1.8 million? I understand generally what the engineering services would be, but can you
Sure.
just give just a little bit more detail?
Sure. There's 2 sides of engineering services during construction. There's the construction administration, and there's the construction inspection. They would be doing both on behalf of the city. So submittals for the project, any materials or means that are being incorporated in the project, they would be reviewed by GPI first, then forwarded for us to confirm, basically, taking that step of us reviewing everything out. They would track the quantities on the project, confirm that the contractor's pay recs and quantities are correct and have been tracked. They track the budgeting on the project at the 25, 50, 75, 90%, so they could see if we're going over or trending under. We have additional money to potentially add additional scope or something like that. From the inspection standpoint, they would serve 2 purposes. They would coordinate with the ombudsman and the city to make sure that communication is ongoing and anything that comes up during a construction is getting addressed. And the second being reviewing the technical work going in, making sure the contractor is meeting the spec, things are getting put in correctly, and it's a good product for the city. Basically being our eyes as everything's getting done all the time.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions? Members of the public? All right, Mr. Chairman.
I'm gonna have to make sure I don't put an extra 0 in it, because this is the big 0. Move to recommend that the city manager be authorized to do all things necessary to execute an agreement with Greenman Peterson, Inc., GPI, for engineering services during the construction for the downtown infrastructure improvement project for an amount not to exceed $6.8 million.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further questions? Yes, sir.
So I'm gonna vote for it. I do wanna see the scope, because after that, I liked that question, but it also made me really uncomfortable. Because I think about, I don't know, we could hire 10 people to do that work that you just listed off and pay them for 5 years. It's just like thinking about, I'm not saying 10 people, I'm exaggerating, but it's like,
Sure.
I'm making up numbers because I don't want it to be a real number that gets quoted, but thinking through that. So I'd like to understand the scope a little bit more.
Sure. Would it
before
be
we get
helpful to have a
council.
scope and a level of effort?
Scope and level, yeah, for council, if we can share
Sure.
it, like, if even it's just an email. that's
Of course.
helpful.
Yep.
Thank you.
Anything else? All right. All in favor? No one's opposed. It's unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you. Your next agenda item is a little unique, I'll say. City purchasing requirements require us to get pricing from three consultants or contractors for any work exceeding $5,000, right? 5,000? Is it 10 now? Okay. More than $10,000. I apologize for not being prepared. I'm sure council is aware, over the past year, we've had a number of water main breaks, a lot of which have not been something that our highway staff has been able to repair, both timely or in some cases at all. The scope goes beyond what their capabilities have to do. In every instance, we have reached out to local contractors, and I'm sorry, I am presenting the wrong one. Let's start over. I apologize.
You're on 8.
Okay. This next agenda item is relating to the George Street Bridge project. McFarland Johnson is the engineer of record on the project. As part of a DOT project, we're required to hire the engineer of record for construction services during the project. We've negotiated a scope and fee. Part of the negotiations is reducing some of their scope, number of meetings, number of site visits, that sort of thing, and in turn reducing the associated cost. There's still a cost that exceeds our procurement requirement to get bids to award this dollar value contract. So essentially what we're asking for is permission to award a contract to the engineer of record for the George Street Bridge project for engineering services during construction for the project. If that makes sense. I know it's a little wordy. Happy to answer any questions.
Questions up here? Second somewhere, or first?
First somewhere.
Yeah.
Yep. Make sure I'm in the right spot. Move to recommend that the city manager be authorized to do all things necessary to execute an agreement with McFarland Johnson for design engineer of record engineering services during construction for the George Street Bridge replacement project up to $60,000.
Second.
Further discussion by the committee? Seeing none, all in favor? No one's opposed, unanimous.
All right, I jumped the gun on this one. I apologize. As you may be aware, we've had a number of water main breaks over the last year. For multiple instances, Water Street, West Street, Winchester Street, and even the Glen Road pump station at Old Walpole Road, we've reached out to local vendors capable of performing pavement repairs for this work in the interest of public safety. I mean, specifically, Winchester Street, I believe, I don't remember if it was Memorial Day or the 4th of July. It was literally right before that weekend that we had a big hole in the ground that we needed to get repaired immediately. There is one contractor who has answered the call every time, and it doesn't matter if it needs to be done at night so it doesn't disrupt traffic or businesses or homeowners. He's always willing to do the work. We always, with this type of work, do an independent cost estimate on what we think it's going to be to hire a contractor for this work. In every instance, he's submitted a price that's better than what we've estimated it would be. In light of his service to the city, we are recommending that he be designated as a contractor of record. Now, this isn't a sole source contractor, just basically eliminates some of the purchasing requirements or reduces the purchasing requirements for hiring this contractor for work. Now, we would reevaluate this every year based on his performance, and if his performance doesn't continue to be exemplary, we would recommend removing that status. But in this instance, this is a local contractor, Minkland LLC, veteran-owned business, and probably out of the contractors I've worked with during my time with the city, the most reliable there is. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I'm not super familiar with City Code Section 13325. Is the, in the background notes, it mentions that this would be used for projects between $5,000 and $50,000. Is that defined in that section of the code?
It is.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
All right, so I was just, like, I didn't know if we needed to put a limitation saying it's good for this, but sounds good. If it's defined in there. Awesome, thank you. Okay.
And in this one and a couple of your others this evening, you talked about independent government estimate,
Yes.
which is another check and balance before you even you've got a pretty good idea.
Correct.
Now you've got a formula
Correct.
that you can apply to it,
Yes.
and if it's one of your better judgments, really, like. in
It's
terms-
always a check for us on whether it's in the best benefit of the city to go with that contractor when we're getting that pricing. Yes.
I'm really getting this discussion, not for my benefit, but for all of those wonderful people that listen to us. And I'll have to say that having somebody available to fill a hole in the middle of the street, in the middle of the night, is very important. Been through that a couple times as a manager, where I'm not writing a bid, no, I'm not spending the time. And it's so beneficial to have somebody in town that's ready to do it, so, good job.
Great. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I agree with this perfectly. When you told me that Water Street cost $12,000, so if we knew it was going in the middle of the night, so you get them right on, so that people could see them working by the time morning comes.
Your turn.
All right. Move to recommend that the city manager be authorized to do all things necessary to designate Minkland LLC as a contractor of record in accordance with City Code Section 213325.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any further discussion? In that case, all in favor? All opposed, unanimous. You're on a roll.
Yeah, almost there. This one's a little confusing, so this may slow us down, but we'll see. Recently, I believe 2024? Yes, 2024, the EPA revised their lead and copper rules and requirements mandating the elimination of galvanized water service piping within municipal and utility-maintained public infrastructure. The city of Keene, as the water company in the city, identified 2 such services that are required by the EPA to be replaced with this mandate. These are private services. So ultimately, the city can't pay for the replacement. We are essentially looking to apply for a clean water SRF loan to be able to do this work and then have the homeowners of these 2 services pay those back within the terms of the NHDS Clean Water SRF loan terms, which I believe is 10 years. So in light of that, there are 2 movements as part of this item. One is to authorize the city manager to apply for, accept, and expend the loan on behalf of the city, and these 2 homeowners who are not allowed to apply for it themselves, and then enter an agreement with these 2 homeowners to pay back this loan to the city. With the Clean Water SRF loan, there's a 10% loan forgiveness, so the work as part of the independent government estimate was estimated at about $58,000, so there'd be roughly a $6,000 savings in getting the loan for this associated work. We've talked with NHDS, we've cleared all environmental reviews, and they've basically said the last step on this is show confirmation that council is in agreement with applying for and accepting this loan. So with that, be happy to answer any questions.
Questions? So they must be the last two services on the end of that line.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay? Motion?
Move to recommend that the city manager be authorized to do all things necessary, negotiate and execute agreements with the owner of property served by 2 existing galvanized water services for the purposes of financing the replacement of private water services. The payment plan shall not exceed 10 years with an annual interest rate equal to the CWS RF loan rate in effect at the time.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Further discussion? Okay, all in favor? No one's opposed, unanimous?
I can do the other one. Yeah. Move to recommend that the city manager be authorized to do all things necessary to apply for, accept, and expend NHDES CWSRF funds for the replacement of 2 existing galvanized water services.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Further discussion? All in favor? No one's opposed, that's unanimous.
Last one for me. I've come to you a number of times for this project, or these projects. The city received a Clean Water SRF fund for sewer manhole and sewer main lining projects. Essentially, when we received the bids, the cost amounts were, for the 2 projects, were reversed from what was allocated in those loans. So I think the manhole project, the amount that was allocated was $836,700, and the actual bid was about $1 million, essentially. So we had to cut down the scope of the manhole lining for the project because we didn't have enough money allocated to award, either by the city or with this loan program. We've since communicated it to DES. These projects have both advanced, and we know we will be under budget on the sewer main lining project. So what essentially we're looking for permission to do from council, DES has already agreed, similar to the previous project, is to move the allocated sewer main lining loan amount to the sewer manhole lining account for the loan. That's a mouthful. Goodness, excuse me. The remaining funds, minus the change orders to date for the sewer main lining project, would be roughly $130,000. Out of that, the city would receive, again, the 10% loan forgiveness, so it would be the best use of the loan for the city and the ratepayers. If we don't make the switch, it just goes unused, essentially, and we'll go back to the pot of federal money, DES money for the Clean Water SRF fund. So we're looking to maximize that loan amount, looking to maximize the benefit of the loan forgiveness to the city, and complete as much of the program CIP work as possible.
Thank you. Questions? Motion?
Move to recommend the city manager be authorized to do all things necessary to amend the NHDES Clean Water State Revolving Fund agreements to reallocate the remaining available funds in NHDES CWSRF Sewer Man Lining Program to the NHDES CWSRF Sewer Manhole Lining Program. Sorry, I should clarify the numbers because they are 2 different ones, 32 MI 04 to 32 MI 06, in an amount not to exceed $130,000.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
And I might have said that wrong. It was sewer main to sewer manhole. So if I said that wrong, that was the intent.
You got it.
All in favor? No one's opposed, unanimous.
Thank you.
Sir.
Appreciate it.
It was a good run. It was like 8 in a row.
So Tom, the challenge is, can you do it all next Thursday and less than we did today?
Nah, not really gonna happen. I'll be brief.
All right, we got one more.
Who's got the last one? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. You will recall, the city council determined before that a redevelopment project at 310 Marlborough qualified for RSA 79E tax relief. You may also recall, early 2024, my predecessor came before you explaining the need for a subrogation agreement for that project, exactly like what I'm going to be explaining to you tonight. But for a little bit of background and for the record, the tax relief in RSA 79E requires the recipient enter into a restrictive covenant with the city. It is in that covenant that we bind and bound the project developer to what basically qualifies them for the tax relief. One of the requirements that is in the restrictive covenant is that the city retains a lien on any proceeds of casualty or flood insurance claims. And as we explained last time around, that lien has been an obstacle for the developer or the property owner to obtain a mortgage on the property because the bank wants to see priority over our lien. So before and tonight, they have requested that we subrogate our lien in favor of a mortgage for them to be able to complete the project. And as with the last request, my office is recommending that you do authorize the city manager to sign that subrogation. Number one, there's really no practical need, as far as we can think of, why the city would need that lien for those proceeds. There is a requirement in the statute that if we get them, we're obligated to use it to complete the project. It's not our project. We're not super interested in that. Wouldn't recommend it. And then secondly, of course, it helps the developer continue with their project and finish it up. So that's a benefit, obviously, that we're interested in. We've provided them the 79E tax relief. So that is the primary thing that's in front of you. I want to let you know that going forward, when we have 79E projects, we're going to also be asking you to not include this lien, so that I don't have to keep coming back to you for this issue. As I said, there's not a practical reason that we can see why we would want it in each covenant. And so just to help the developer out in the future, prevent this from being an obstacle.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So if it's a requirement of the funding, do we have to just include authorization to subrogate as like part of it as opposed to not putting it in there?
So the statute says that it's the discretion of the governing body to include it in the first place.
Got it. I missed that part. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Further discussion? Take a motion.
Move to recommend to the city council that the city manager be authorized to sign a subordinate agreement to a mortgage from 310 Marlborough Street LLC to Newburyport 5 Cent Savings Bank.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? No one's opposed? Unanimous. We're adjourned. Thank you all.
Not bad at all.
37 minutes.
For 11 topics. And a recall.